Hello, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Creative Amplifiers show. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Neil. How are you both?
Good, good, good.
Good. I thought I was going to be left hanging there for a little while.
It's like I'm happy to be with you guys and to be here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. I know it's been quite an ordeal in the last few weeks. It's great to see you safe and with us. So yes. How's it been in obviously our thoughts go out with everybody who's been affected over there in LA.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable what's going on, but my family, my daughter and I are safe and sound, and it's really good to see Angelinos come together and help each other in providing food and clothing or whatever else is needed right now because it's to see it in person is truly unbelievable. But we will get through, and it'll be okay.
Certainly seeing some of the scenes on the news, it's always interesting when you sort of see those sorts of things and they're kind of, they're one step removed from you. But when you know someone who's been directly involved and you kind of can sort of piece those things in that personal level, it has a whole sort of different way of sort of interacting with you. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, unfortunately, I have a large number of people who lost homes in various fires. So, let's just be there for them and do what you can. And this is, again, time to rise to the occasion and show love.
Absolutely. Beautifully put. Neil, how are you? How was your holiday season?
Very quiet, uneventful, thankfully. So it was just nice and quiet, just at home, visiting a few markets and things like that. Nothing too crazy. So yeah, it's been great. And I echo Mark's sentiments. It's wonderful that you're here and you're safe and your family's safe. And Lisa and hearts go out to everybody who's been affected. And yeah, it's just terrible to see what's been going on. But glad you're here. So yeah. And how about you, Mark? How was your festive period?
Yeah, it was very nice. Got to see a lot of the family, sort of dashed around the country a little bit. My wife was doing a Christmas show, so went to see her show. And so yeah, lots of driving around the country, which is it's always fun this time of year, bearing in mind that we've had a proper sort of cold snap. There's been snow, there's been ice, there's been fog, all of that kind of stuff. So that always makes it interesting. But so far, so good. All journeys have worked out well. But yeah, no, it's been really nice. So yeah, good. Thank you very much indeed. Roy, thank you so much for joining us. Just in time to miss the countdown timer. That's why the timer's there, just to make sure you can find out exactly what's going on. And he sort of echoes that as well. Yeah, thanks, Roy. I do appreciate all of that going in. And I can't believe that it's nearly a month ago we were together. It was the 16th, I think, was our Christmas show. So we've literally been away from each other for a month. Now, I think that's probably the longest that we've been apart, virtually, obviously not physically. I think apart from even with our summer break, it wasn't much more than that because we met up in person and then we're planning the CCTV. So
I missed you guys.
Yeah, the separation anxiety is kicking in, I guess. And that's what we're saying.
Yeah, and we have spoken before about this whole thing about working on your own. There's something about working in a group which is amazing, and even just getting back after Christmas, just getting my show going and everything. It's that kind of I'm sort of doing this, but it's a lonely existence, and it's just that kind of you to camera or you to record or just sort of even setting up interviews and that kind of stuff. It's been lovely to kind of get back on our hamster wheel. Sorry, I mentioned the hamster. Sorry, apologies.
When you do that, I'm convinced there's something going wrong. Sorry, say again.
Did we ever name the hamster? Did we ever give him a name?
Ooh.
No, actually, it's a hamster with no name. Yeah.
Name, guys.
Okay, so Roy, anyone else watching? Let's think about this. By what do we want to do? By Easter, we need a proper poll that we can vote.
Yeah, proper name hamster.
Oh my. Hopefully we don't have to put too much thought into it, but there you go.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay.
Exactly. So anyway, without further ado, we're here to discuss, to enjoy, to share the love with someone that we met at Creator Camp. It's someone that Lisa knows from way back when, as it were. So Lisa, would you like to do just sort of a little introduction to kind of make Phil feel nice and warm and ready for him to come on?
I'm just going to jump in. Phil, come on. Let's do this.
Here he comes.
Here he comes.
That's introduction.
I know. I mean, well, thank you. Oh my gosh. Applause?
Of course.
Applause? I like
Applause.
it.
Why
I like
not?
it here already.
It's so good to have you here and see your shining face.
I can
Yeah.
it's good to be here, but I was going to say to you, I can understand why the question or the prompt to introduce me is overwhelming because you and I have known each other for literally so long. I very
Yeah.
proudly shared this at Creator Camp that you are one of my first 3 clients. And now I've had over 400 in well over a decade. But Lisa, you're like part of my origin story. So
I
the fact that
know.
we're together kicking still is just
I
really, wonderful.
I love it, and that's the perfect segue. Let's tell the people about your journey. How did you, end up as this major brand strategist and now AI? And, what got you interested in branding in the first place?
So I'll give you the short version of the story, but I moved out to LA with big dreams coming from Canada. I graduated with my master's degree, thought I was supposed to do what everyone else did, which was go and work for someone. So landed out in LA, passed my resume around all kinds of places, didn't get a job, and did a TV hosting boot camp, which is where you and I met, and came out of that weekend from just genuine connections with you at the time, a jewelry designer, a makeup artist, and a real estate agent. And those three power women, baby, were my first 3 clients in my personal branding agency. So personal branding is really what I've done from the beginning. Of course, I've worked with companies along the way, but helping people position, build, and promote their brands has really been my passion since day one. And I'm fortunate that this is all I've ever done. So 14 years later, I'll sometimes say my adult job is I own a branding agency. And my fun job, much like what we're doing right now, is kind of fun. I started creating my own content instead of just giving my own clients, advice, go and create content. I was like, well, I should probably start making videos, which I enjoy doing. I enjoy communicating in this medium, and without really a ton of expectations, thought I can post a video a week on YouTube. Maybe that's a way people will find me or learn from me instead of just having to have a one-to-one conversation or hear me speak at an event. And that has really turned into something pretty awesome. Um, I started having brands reach out to me. Many actually. I just compiled a list of them. I'm working with Descript right now. I work the most with Adobe. ManyChat, I was a part of their summit a few months ago. I mean, there's so many cool brands that I get to be that I get to work with now. So the fun job is working as a content creator, and that's actually the majority of where my time goes now, most days. I love it.
Yeah, and I don't know how many. I mean, you besides helping people, the whole journey of being a brand ambassador and all, that's another option that people should look at doing. Do you have any advice about that for people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to do is lean into what you really enjoy doing. I think I've said that even before AI, before social media. It's always been for me like, what can you spend the maximum number of minutes doing that you really, really enjoy? So for me, creating videos, the process of creating videos meant, and taking it seriously meant that I could put it on my calendar, treat it like work, hit a deadline, and in turn the process of creating videos meant that I was constantly learning. So I feel like if the origin is kind of rooted in something like that, make it as selfish as possible. What do you get from the process of podcasting, creating videos, right? I feel like so many amazing things can come from that. I'm kind of a nerd, so I love trying new AI tools and tips and marketing platforms. And it's kind of just an added benefit now that I get paid for it. But that's actually not why I started. So I'd say if you're in a position of going like, you know, I want to do something like that, dabble with it, take inventory of like what tools and apps do you already use and love, what products do you touch every day from the morning you wake or the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Those are things that you can become brand advocates for and make money in different ways, either getting paid or affiliate sales, YouTube ad revenue. There's all kinds of possibilities.
And I just want to roll back to the whole branding, because if you're putting yourself out there, you need to have a package. So what would be a basic thing for people to start off with as far as presenting themselves as a brand, as somebody who can speak on other products or their, other companies?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I would say you don't have to worry about everything being perfect and polished. I always care about that, but I guess I'm in the right business then, because my business for 14 years has been helping people package themselves. But now I would say actually humans prefer humans. So that doesn't mean you can't have a nice, lit office environment, but I would say don't let those things stop you from starting. Um, we have the most amazing access to technology now, like ChatGPT, that can become our brainstorm partner. So if it were me, funny enough, I'd probably start a ChatGPT chat and say, "Hey, I'm interested in adding a new vertical to my business, but I want it to be founded in something that I'm passionate about. Can you ask me 5 questions that will help me identify a good place to start?" That's honestly probably where I would start, which maybe I just put myself out of business, Lisa. I don't know if that was a good
No,
idea.
you didn't put yourself out of business, but it's a good prompt for people. Pay attention, take notes.
Yeah.
That's a good prompt for someone to start, because you don't know where to start. And, that's a good segue into the whole AI world that you have a book out. And I think, Neil, you have some questions about that. And I'm so
Oh,
excited you have a book. I'm a cheerleader for you. You know that?
You are the best. You are the best. You're like an OG cheerleader. And of all my projects, Lisa, and you and I have worked on so many cool things over the years. Um, we as personal brands evolve. You and I are both examples of this. So I wasn't necessarily like a ChatGPT whiz when it first came out. It actually took me a few months to get the hang of it. I'd land in an empty chat and stare at it like maybe we used to stare at Google back in the day. Like, what do you type? Whereas on Google, though, we've been training our brains for a long time on how to interact with it. Go with a question to get an answer. But generative AI tools they're not, it doesn't quite work that way. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming to know where to begin. I would say the main thing is start having a conversation with it like you would a human. So Lisa, the prompt that I just did on the spot isn't something I had pre-written. Sure, I might incorporate some best practices. Like it's always a good idea to attach a number, like give me 5 questions. Let's explore 3 ways to. Always good to attach a number so that it has some parameters. But I'm actually a big believer in that I can't write the perfect prompt for you. You can write the perfect prompt for yourself just by starting and learning and iterating.
And being specific. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
being specific, even if it takes you a few questions to get there. You guys, like, I don't plan the conversation I'm going to have with you before we have it. We're having a conversation right now. I didn't like rehearse everything I was going to say. And I feel like we need to go into, we need to approach AI with this same kind of like openness. Let's not put all this pressure on ourselves to like write the perfect prompt to get the perfect answer. Just start the conversation and iterate. You'll learn by doing that. Examples are helpful. If the output is crap, give it more input. It's a lot like just a conversation independent of technology.
I think what was really great is that Mark and I met you for the first time at Creator Camp last year in Boston. And then we were fortunate to chill out with you later and have a couple of drinks. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that you were in the middle of writing your new book. So we'd love for you to tell us a little bit now about AI for small businesses. And tell us
Should I
what
hold it
inspired
in
you
front
to
of my
write the
face
book.
like this?
Just leave it there. That's fine. And what inspired you to write the book? And tell us all about the book and who is it aimed at? Who is it for? And what can people get out of it?
Good question. What inspired me to write a book? A publisher wanting to pay me money was my inspiration to start writing a book because Lord knows,
Great.
had it been, yeah, question done. No, Lord knows, had it been on my own accord, I just would have never prioritized this project. But as soon as I got someone else involved and treated it like a client project, that actually made this thing come to fruition. So it's in fact the first published book on the topic of AI from Simon and Schuster. The publisher is Adams Media, an imprint of Simon and Schuster, which is the third largest publisher in the U.S. Many famous authors have come along. So Stephen King, Britney Spears, just to name a few. I'm in good company. But I wanted to write the book because it was twofold for me. It meant that I got to like sit and think and organize my thoughts and my recommendations that I'd really been compounding for years on my YouTube channel. One of the first brand deals I ever did was with a company called Synthesia, which is an AI avatar tool. I created a custom avatar and that video performed very well and honestly kind of paved the way for me to continue doing this type of work. But there really had not been an opportunity for me to sit and go, wait, how does all of this fit into a cohesive narrative with example prompts, examples of how my clients are or could be using AI? The blessing of my work is that I've gotten to work in so many different industries. So, and then all the tools, that's really my passion, is like how we get to use these tools to allow us as small business owners, that's the target audience. There's the second question answer. Us as small business owners, focus on high impact work and also the work that we enjoy doing. There are lots of things in my business that I could delegate to someone else, but there are things that I actually really enjoy doing. I really like creating the graphics for my YouTube videos. I don't like editing that, so I've delegated that. But there are so many instances now where I'm using AI. I'm actually delegating, the writing of my scripts to an AI tool. I can't imagine now writing a script for a video without using AI. I can open up a ChatGPT channel, or even better, one that I've already trained previously on a project, and I can say, hey, I'll say that, hey, that's what I say to ChatGPT, I need your help writing a script. Here's an example of one recently that I think has a good structure you can follow for this one. I've copied and pasted, literally command all and paste into ChatGPT, copy from their homepage and their about page, assuming these brands have spent many more hours than me on the positioning of these tools. And then I might say, here are 5 or 6 bullet points, takeaways of things that I think are particularly interesting about this platform. Then if you've had a meeting with the client, upload that transcript as well. You would be amazed at what ChatGPT or any generative AI tool. I talk a lot about ChatGPT, but Claude, Gemini, Magi, there's so many great ones out there. You'd be amazed at how quickly it can write something, because the main thing here is that it can compute information much faster than our brains can. So let's let it do the computing and let's free up time for humans to do human things.
Right. What would you say to a small business owner or a founder that is reluctant to embrace AI in some form, specifically around what you just mentioned around ChatGPT and helping it, craft ideas and things like that? Do you think they're going to be left behind? And is it totally unwise for them not to at least take a look?
I don't think anyone is going to be left behind. I think that that's a false statement put out there to create anxiety, and we already have enough of that. So you will never, ever, ever hear me say, hop on AI train, hop on the AI train, or before it's too late. That's so dumb. Instead, I would say something to the opposite. I would say something to the effect of, if you have continued running your business without the distraction of AI and continue to grow it and continue to be fulfilled by it, fantastic. Give yourself a pat on the back because you have focused on the right things. If you're in a position where you review, where you spend time, if you're trying to create some efficiencies, trying to scale your business, trying to get time back from the work that you're doing, and you're curious about where you can plug AI into those things, that's the right amount of curiosity then to begin exploring a solution. But the best solutions are typically not discovered overnight. So I think it's actually a much more methodical, responsible approach than wasting an entire day on the clock researching AI tools. My last recommendation would be let me do that. I get paid for it. Surround yourself with a few creators that you know and trust to be able to make recommendations on platforms that might be worth your time and attention.
And how's AI changed your sort of day-to-day workflow? Like before AI was prevalent, and to how you're using it now, what's maybe the one thing that has really changed for you in adopting AI into your day-to-day?
I accomplish probably double in a day what I would have a year ago, year and a half ago, without working more. So my business partner of 9 years left last summer. We had worked together for 9 years, and she really oversaw the entire client side of my business. I'm very proud of her. She went off to launch her own business in a totally different industry, something that was born from social media and born from really like the best practices that we've been preaching and sharing with our clients and audience. I have not rehired for that position. Last year, I had more than half the year without her. I still hit my revenue goal of 95% of what I made the year before. And the only way I was able to do that was by having AI as my brainstorm partner, my accountability partner, my efficiency partner. So there are so many things. I mean, I think about drafting an email reply to someone, and let's say it's like a really thoughtful and an important email, and let's say that it doesn't contain sensitive or confidential information. I could, instead of sitting here for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you wouldn't believe it, but that's how long it sometimes takes to write those emails. Instead of doing that, I can paste the entire thread with 2 bullet points on what I want to say, and I have ChatGPT trained to be able to write a response in my voice based on the interactions prior. And for me, because I'm using it so much in my business now, I pay for a Teams membership, and that gives me a greater amount of security and privacy. It means that OpenAI does not train the model on my information and my interactions, which is really important to me. So ChatGPT, so just a few examples, my own productivity, what I'm able to accomplish in a business. And then I would say of my many business subscriptions, which every small business owner can relate to, it has without a doubt become my most important set of business tools and subscriptions.
Have you played much with Apple's intelligence yet? It's not really available for me specifically here in Portugal because of GDPR and weird things with data privacy. But have you played with it much, and how does it compare to tools that you use today like ChatGPT and Claude and so on?
I haven't, because Apple makes me angry. A lot of times they put so much energy into how, and I'm right there with them in terms of like prioritizing design and functionality. But the last few sets of products from them, like the Apple, what do you call it? The like headset thing. It's just
the Vision Pro.
Vision Pro. Apple has not yet proven to me that they deserve my time or attention in what they've created in the AI space. Maybe that will change, but it's just not something that I've felt compelled to spend time on. What I will say, tools like ChatGPT obviously have an advantage because they were first to market. There are tools that have been first to market, but have done so irresponsibly, and that's also a concern of mine. Mm-hmm. I advocate a lot for Adobe tools. I'm a very proud ambassador for Adobe Express, Adobe Acrobat, and Firefly, and a handful of what they've created. Adobe will be the first to admit that in many cases they're not first to market with some of these tools and technology. However, in many cases they're first to market responsibly, which means when you create an image in Adobe Firefly, that model is trained only on what they can access legally. So public domain, Adobe stock, assets. So that means any image you create using that tool is safe for commercial use. Not sexy, not sexy to talk about, but when you're a business owner that gets sued for pulling an image from Google Images that you thought you could just get because you liked how it looked, then Getty Images sues you, that's not sexy. And so we need to be concerned going into 2025, we need to be concerned about privacy. We need to be concerned about creators, rights and usage. That I think, less splashy. If the last 2 years have been novel and exciting, and look, AI is embedded in every tool we have. What we need to care about next is privacy. That's kind of this next mile, this next lap, if you will.
Right. Agreed. Totally. And go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you sort of a combination of both of those things in terms of large businesses against small businesses. Do you sort of think that AI is sort of allowing you to kind of almost not compete in the same way, but because you have more access, and like say, if you're able to train the AI to work with you, you don't need such a large team that maybe some of the larger organizations to do. So does that sort of level the playing field? And maybe what you just said there about all the real sort of nitty gritty, maybe that's the harder part of still being a small business compared to a large organization.
So you bring up a really good point. Also something that many people are concerned about, which is AI is taking my job. So I would say independent of AI, it's important that we all revisit the positioning of our brands and our businesses. Just like being an employee in an organization, you should ask yourself the question, how can I avoid being replaced, or how can I be irreplaceable? And some might say, well, that's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. The work that I've done with my clients and how I poured myself into the projects that I've taken on, I really pride myself on being, someone that people want to keep in their corner. Lisa's kept me in her corner for lots of years. And it's not to say someone else can't do the job. It's not to say someone else can't do the job, but we should always be thinking about our own safety. Goldman Sachs did a study about close to 2 years ago now that said 60%, or I think it's like 64% of people will be complemented by AI. 30% will be completely unaffected, and the remaining 7% or 6% would be replaced. So that's, in the grand scheme of things, a very small percentage of people that will be replaced. The truth is, you guys, that percentage of people probably should be replaced by technology simply based on the speed at which information can be computed. I have yet to see an AI logo generator make me fear replacement. They're out there. I promote them at times for someone who's just getting started and needs to ideate or needs, proof of concept quickly for their new business. But an AI logo generator is not going to replace the thoughtfulness and the work that goes into brand identity development that I do over the course of several months. And I'll say one more thing on this. Maybe what we're seeing is a widening of the gap between self-starters, educational resources, empowerment to do things yourself, and then that luxury offering. So if anything, I would lean more into how can I be anti-technology in some respect? What are the ways in which I can give people a really human experience? Because we are attention, undivided attention. I write a postcard to people that hire me to do a brand audit, and I pop it in the mail, and you wouldn't believe the number of people that say, wow, Phil, I got your postcard. Thank you so much. It cost me all of 30 seconds to write and 50 cents to put a stamp on it, and maybe 2 cents to print. So do you see what I'm saying? I think there's a widening between the technology centric stuff and then the human stuff. As an investor, I'm like, I want to get into retreats, anti-technology, or all, ways to disconnect, because I think people are going to crave that.
The hybrid
Definitely.
approach. Definitely a hybrid approach to it. Yeah.
So when is your book being available to everybody?
Well, since this is a live stream, I can say tomorrow from the time that we went live, but friends, it's basically here. You guys I'm considering you basically my first my first announcement, my first little, celebration that it's actually finally here. So January 14th is the pub date. And dear friends have ordered it, pre-ordered it up to this point, but I am so excited for people to get it in their hands. That includes the first batch of people that got it as part of attending Ecamm Creator Camp. And I have to give Ecamm a shout out. Of 150 brands and tools that are mentioned in the book, Ecamm was the first to support me in this endeavor, hosting me at Ecamm Creator Camp, getting attendees of Creator Camp a copy of the book once they left a review of their experience. Katie and the team at Ecamm have just been so incredible, and I'm so proud of the relationship that I have with them. I know you guys feel similarly.
Yeah, definitely. And well, that's amazing. And I'm so pleased that everybody's going to get a copy of the book, and we can't wait to see that. Mark, I think you wanted to mention something about Adobe to Phil.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you sort of mentioned the idea about that sort of personal connection and that kind of thing. So in terms of sort of working with brands and reaching out to brands, them coming to you, how has that sort of developed within your career? And I guess, like say, that I'm curious about that sort of personal element, and like say then continuing to work with them and sort of having that sort of that passion that you can sort of share amongst everybody.
So that's a really good question. It's a cool one because it prompts me to think about how I arrived at where I am right now. It's happened very organically, and I've kind of just rocked with it. Um, but the truth is, it started with me going, you know what? I'm just going to talk about things that I'm really excited about, uh, with very little expectation that anything would amount from it right away. So Adobe found me and asked me in the very early days to become an ambassador for them. I was ambassador 30, roughly around there. Now there's well over 300 around the world. Um, I, I thought, well, this is a really cool tool. I'm going to talk about it. Um, I've got emails from brands I'd never seen before. I still get emails from brands I've never seen before. And I think to myself, I'm not going to not take on this brand deal, this partnership to create a video because I'm not the target market. That's not my approach. Instead, I'm really excited to learn about a tool that is someone else's, ideal tool. So, right now I'm working on an e-commerce, really cool AI e-commerce tool. That's not really my world. However, it is the world of my clients, and it's certainly something that people around the world will benefit from. So that's like generally my approach, really just rooted in what I think is really cool. I have said no to brands. I have taken on brand deals, gotten into the tool and gone, actually, this is horrible. And I actually refunded the brand and said, sorry, like come back in a year if this improves, but it ain't my thing. Chicken wang. Like that's happened a few times. So you never know. But normally it's really positive. These companies have invested a lot of time, to get something off the ground, and it's really cool.
I think that ability just to say like, create something, say something, be yourself, share what you love, and just having faith in that kind of organic way that life takes you, even when you've got a plan and you've got a focus of what you want to do. It's usually those slightly left field things which kind of take you in that direction and give you those opportunities.
Also maintain
Exactly.
integrity as you're going through and knowing your values of what you want to do and what you don't want to do and how that matches with the brand. Because some people just are like, I got to take this deal, I got to do that, but you held your integrity and your values. So that's very
I
important.
try to. Yeah, I try to. It's something I always think about. And I know people take my opinion with weight. Like oh, Phil recommended this thing. That means he's tried it. So I do hold that in high regard.
What do you think is going to be the way forward for people who want to open up that relationship from progressing more? So like you say, you become an ambassador, you do a few videos for people, but I know you've also sort of been involved in live streaming for Adobe, and I know Lisa's been involved in done some things with you as well. Is that another sort of organic take on something you're already involved in and you're just open to those opportunities as they come through?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you asked that question a second ago, and I thought it's really just about being open to possibilities. So it might start small. It often does. Even if I'm looking at hiring someone in my company, I don't normally have a big detailed job description that I hire them for. Normally it's something really small. I'm like, hey, I need your help with something very specific. And as you earn that and build that trust, opportunities expand. I've been the recipient of that with some of these brands, Adobe being the primary one. I started creating one Instagram reel per month back 4 years ago. And this last year, I worked on 12 different projects at Adobe all over the place. So live streaming, I have an Adobe live show, which it was fun to have Lisa up in San Francisco at their headquarters to join me for. I work with Express, Acrobat, Firefly, events, supporting executives, so many, live shows, like so many cool things. I just like, a lot of it is just like pinch me moments. I'm like, how the heck did I get here? Thanks to these good questions, you have me thinking about it.
I mean, that,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to sort of wrap up that sort of final little section, was that you do hear that kind of thing. I want to be involved in, I want to hire a person with the right character, the right idea of the sort of person I want to be surrounding myself with. We can train them in the tools they need, or we can kind of, give them the opportunities to work in a way that works with us, but we need the right person. And I guess that ability to be able to show that in some way is the key thing, and to do it quickly so that they're the person that does get hired, and then, like you say, you can show your true value from there.
Exactly.
Sorry, Lisa, I jumped in front of you.
No. I want to let you finish. I do have a question, and this is for content creators to perk up their ears. You have you have many irons in the fire. You're doing a lot of different things. How do you take care of yourself? How have you learned how to manage your time, how to have your self-care, know when to turn things off? Like, what is your method of staying sane in the busyness of your life?
It's something that I'm not necessarily great at, but I have to recognize that I operate in marathons and sprints. So some projects are marathons. I have to chip away at them gradually. Others are sprints. The challenge with doing so many different things, people might need things all at once, and juggling that can definitely be a challenge. I basically stopped working by the end of October. I took the entire month of November and most of December off. And let me tell you, well, you saw me in October. Honey, I needed it. I needed a vacation. I took September and October. I did work in 2 months that probably would have taken most people 4 or 5 months. It was, but I also, at the same time, like, I love the pressure. I love the excitement around deadlines and pleasing people and winning contracts and doing things I'm proud of. But you have to balance it. And I'm still learning how to do that. I recognize how I work. So I really like those, like, okay, it's 100% now and it's going to be 0 next week. I find that I work the best that way. So it's kind of leaning into what works best for you.
Yeah, I was so happy you took that time off, because I was like, baby doll, go go relax.
I know. Yes. And I did relax. I had a lot of Aperol spritz.
Speaking of brands, who's listening? Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
I was just going to ask a quick question about, if I may. You have an up-and-coming private membership community, Brand Masters, that's coming up. So, can you give us a little sneak peek about that? What members can expect and how it will help them grow their brands?
Absolutely. So this is my brand new project. Haven't talked about it very much because I've been entirely focused on the book, but I've actually already created 50 video modules that really walk people through my branding process, start to finish. Photography, brand positioning, brand identity development, social media, content strategy, and now AI, all of these things. Because I'm doing less client work, because I stay so busy with brands, this has been my way to let people in on my world, my brain, but also create a community around people that are building their brands and becoming brand masters. So it's something that I had initially planned to launch with the book. But one of my faults is that I sometimes am a little too ambitious with what I think I can do in the amount of time that I have. So this is coming next. I'm running it in beta right now with a very small group of people. And once I feel that it's ready, I think by March 2025, it will be available. So I'm excited about that.
Fantastic. And people can find that on your website when it becomes live. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Literally,
Perfect.
you guys, I'm flipping the switch tonight. That's how
Cool.
close that's coming. Yeah.
Perfect
All
timing.
right. Thank you.
So exciting. And I'm so proud of you because, you know,
You guys are
you
the
are the
best.
grandmaster. You really are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So just one last question to wrap things up. What advice do you have for content creators with with anything, with their branding, with being a content creator, with trying to tackle AI? What do you have for them?
Don't try to do it overnight. The best and most sustainable businesses and brands are ones that are, have a lot of thought incorporated into them. It's not, we feel the urgency to do this overnight, but actually take the time. I would challenge you to do the opposite. Take the time to really think about what you want. Think about the things that bring you joy and build around that without this immense amount of pressure or stress to do it by a certain date or time.
Such good advice. Mr. Phil, thank you so very
Thank
much
you, guys.
and sharing your knowledge and hanging out with us. It's so good. So good.
Yeah. It's been brilliant.
My pleasure. I appreciate all three of you.
Oh, thank you. We've got just a few things just we want to share just as we're saying goodbye. So there's where you can get Phil's book. You can click through there in the chat as well. But Roy just saying that he's got the audiobook, even though he knew that he had the printed one on the way. So that, like I say, you can get it in many different forms. And did you record that yourself? How was that as an experience?
You better believe I did. You better believe I did. I bought a little audio booth that's still built in the guest room of my house. Yes, I did. It took a long time, but I wanted to make sure that it was read in my voice since I wrote it. So I'm glad I did it.
Fantastic.
Great.
And we have Matt just saying still uses Adobe Express almost daily, which is amazing. So yeah, fantastic stuff. As Lisa said, thank you, Phil. It's been brilliant having you on. Feel free to stay in the chat, whatever you'd like to do. If you need to dash, we really appreciate your time today. And best of luck with the book. And we're looking forward to all the many parties and things that we can do to share it and hear on in going forward. So yeah, thank you very much indeed.
You know it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Phil.
Amazing stuff. Amazing
Wonderful.
stuff.
So good.
Many Aperol spritz will be drunk. I can see it.
Exactly.
Yes.
I can hear the marketing manager emailing him at the moment, just to sort of the way to do it, the way to bring it in as we go through. Oh dear. So anyway, just in case you didn't get all of those things, let's just make sure you can find Phil wherever you need to find him. And if you're even remotely following him on any kind of social media, you can get to see some of the brilliant videos that he does. And I personally love them just because the personality comes through, and I think everything that he said, which is very thoughtful, comes through very organically when you watch all the stuff that he produces, which is no mean feat. And it's great to be able to sort of watch a master at work in terms of being able to do that. And I know, Lisa, like you say, you've known him for a long time, so you've sort of seen that whole arc and how that journey's gone through.
Yeah, it's incredible. Very proud of him.
Fantastic.
Good
Well,
stuff.
yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We do appreciate it. Early in the new year. Hope you're doing well. Let us know if there's any content related stuff that you've got plans, any sort of aims that you're doing, anything that you want to be able to say that yes, we've heard it here first on Creative Amplifiers, and we can hold you accountable or share your successes as you go through with some of those things. Neil, would you like to tell us about our next guest?
Yes, indeed. So coming up in a couple of weeks is Robin Levin, who provides personalized luxury travel experiences focusing on corporate retreats, wellness journeys, and culinary and cultural trips. Difficult to say at this time of night. So looking forward to catching up with Robin in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you then, Robin.
Very good. That was much better than the rehearsals. Well done. It's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Worth
Thank you so much.
putting in the time.
Read slow and keep
Read slow.
repeating. There you
Exactly.
go. Read slow. Read slow.
Exactly. Well, I think it's probably time to do a couple of quiz questions, and there's a little bit of a theme this week, which is us. So if you follow us on our channels, then you'll be very lucky.
It's
If you
all
don't
about us.
Exactly. If you don't follow us, we might give you an extra few seconds while you find different pages in different parts of the channel to find some of these answers. But let's give it a go and see how we get on.
All right, quiz question number 1. How many podcasts has our wonderful Mark released on Education on Fire? Is it A, more than 100, B, more than 200, C, more than 300, or D, more than 400? Scurry away, find his site. You better subscribe and get these numbers right. See, it almost rhymed. There, it's pretty good.
That's very good.
All right.
Without the rehearsal, even better. Very good.
I know,
stuff.
that was just
Off the
made
top.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Neil GPT there. So,
GPT. Very good.
Oh,
It's-
dear.
I have to say, it's been quite a journey, all of this, because it's what started with just an audio podcast back in the day was Skype Recorder, one of the Ecamm's tools back when they were pre-Ecamm Live. And then to sort of do the live streaming and then everything now being recorded on video and having a separate YouTube channel compared to the audio platforms as well. It's amazing, and you get more and more into it, create more and more opportunities, obviously create more and more work, which is why I also loved what Phil was saying, because that the workflow and the time you can save now and how a lot of these AI are actually built into some of the tools that you've got are just incredible. So we've got a few people coming in. More than 200 says Matt. Any more people watching? If you're not sure, just take a guess before we give the actual answer. I suppose I should ask, do both of you know what the right answer is? Just say yes or no.
yes, I know the right answer.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Well, the actual answer is, amazingly, over 400. I think today was episode 427. So that's it's been quite a journey back there since 2016. I do still feel like a baby because, of course, Matt's here watching, and bearing in mind the number of live streams that you do, Matt, on a regular basis on a daily thing, 400 is just literally kind of scratching the
Does
surface.
that in a week,
but,
doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. and has a job that goes around it as well. But
That's a full-time
there we
job
are.
as well.
Exactly. Okay, so that's enough about me. Let's do more about me. I mean, no, let's move on to the next question.
So the next question is about so, how many total views on Neil's YouTube channel? A, 25K, B, 50K, C, 150K, or D, 200K?
So the biggest question, I guess, is as of when, Neil? Because I guess that might have changed since we wrote this question.
29th of December, I achieved this
Good.
little milestone. It's a milestone.
Okay.
Milestone.
Incrementally growing over time.
Yes.
It's one of those
It
things.
is a journey, though, isn't it? As we all
It is
know.
a journey. It is a journey. And I love Phil's thing about the marathon and the sprint thing, because that really is true. It's that certainly as a content creator, it's like, okay, so now I'm in kind of content creation mode, and then I'm in editing mode, and then I'm in producing mode, and then planning mode, or whatever that happens to be, and being able to sort of understand where you are so you can create that organic time off. And I like the terminology of harmony rather than balance, because sometimes you are full on, but sometimes you're not, and understanding where you are on that journey, I think, can be really, really, really helpful.
It's interesting. I saw a stat the other day that I can't remember who it's from. Roberto, somebody, I can't remember his last name. Sorry. Yeah. More than 95% of YouTube channels have less than, on average, I think it's 1,000 views on their video. So everybody's under the 1,000 views, like 50 views, 10 views, or something like that. 95%. So there's only like 5% of YouTube channels that have more than 1,000 views per video on average, which is crazy. So these are YouTube channels that have been around from year dot. So it is interesting how difficult YouTube is in most cases.
It is.
And it keeps changing is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely in
Right.
a huge shift right now. So what worked even last year doesn't work today. So.
Indeed. Anyway, the correct answer is, of course, D, 200,000. Congratulations, Neil, on that. And
Thank you.
Matt saying, if not, it should be. You're absolutely right,
Oh,
Matt.
thank
And
you.
yes, congratulations. And I think Matt was the first one in. Very well done
Yes.
indeed. That's 2 out of 2.
Oof. Where's King George these days?
I don't know. I'm not
Matt's gonna
sure
take his
if
crown.
George is live here. Maybe
don't
if he
think he
watches
is.
the replay, he's just going to turn around and say, I would have got it if I happened to have been live. But that's just...
He will just be crying. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and finally, we've had one about me. We've had one about Neil. It only deserves that we should do one about Lisa. So, to the nearest 1,000, how many subs does Lisa have on her YouTube channel and appetizing life? A, 2,000. B, 14,000. C, 24,000. D, 50,000. We can only dream.
I know. We can only dream.
Right,
We're in the...
right.
Yes, we have YouTube royalty with us here, so that's the way we have to look at
Yeah,
this.
that's the way she sold it to us, wasn't it, when we started? Listen and learn, peep. Listen and
I
learn.
pitched myself.
Yeah. Forget everybody else. This is how I did it. And that was how the conversation started.
Yeah.
And it worked well. We've learned a lot.
It
We
was.
have learned a lot. In all seriousness,
We
we
have.
have learned a
And
lot.
actually, it was the opposite of that. Lisa hardly said anything about what she was doing when we got together and we were
I
sort of
know.
just chatting about everything. And then as each kind of conversation went on, and even when we started doing this channel, this little nugget would come out of, well, when I did this and when I did that and I do this. And then it's like, oh, okay.
I was
Pick
just
Mark
like,
and I
let's
like-
do a show. Let's do a show.
We picked the right person. So the actual answer is 24,000. Amazing. Congratulations then. Matt put 14,000. Should be higher. Well, if you'd gone with the higher, you would have been exactly right. But however, it's not. So sadly not. Exactly. So, but if you want to cling sweet, Matt, then feel free to change your answer, and we can bring in the winning smile as well. You can have a clean sweep of all of those together. But yeah,
We won't tell
24,000.
anybody, so it's fine.
Exactly. So, Lisa, just on a sort of a practical level, how did that kind of work? Was it suddenly everyone kind of subscribed at once? Was it a kind of a sort of a gradual kind of increase? How did it work for you?
It was a slow grow, and I actually stopped for a bit. And the pandemic, because of the algorithm, and people were looking for what I was doing, that's when it really shot up, to be honest with you. That happened with a lot of people. But yeah, it definitely took off during the pandemic.
And at that
Was that a
point-
steady rise after that, or was that almost like a bell curve? Where they see the
Yeah, it was. It
flat
was a
and then
steady rise. Even
a spike.
now, like there's people are however things are going with the algorithm, the algo. If you want to be sassy about it,
We've even shortened that now. Everybody's
The
got
owl.
a shortened term. Now it's the owl. Owl. Big owl.
it's definitely still moving. Like people are still watching the videos.
There you go.
Yeah,
People still need to eat. People still need to want that lifestyle.
Yeah. But I guess that's what Phil was saying, wasn't it? That kind of, do what you love, put it in a way, make sure you're doing something you enjoy, and then it just so happened that, like I say, one of the big things that came out of the pandemic was people, I'm going to shop, I'm going to cook, maybe I haven't done it before, I need that help, and you were just the right person at the right time to make their culinary dreams come true.
See, it is a hard word.
I just thought
The cooking dreams go true.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone hasn't come across your channel, Lisa, what's the one video that you enjoyed creating the most? Is there one particular dish or?
Oh wow, one dish I enjoyed. There was a chili dish I did that was just fun to shoot. We had a really good time, and ironically, because we would shoot 3 or 4 videos in a day, it would just which was crazy. And ironically, as a throwaway, I had broccoli in my refrigerator, and I was like, let's just do a quick saute broccoli video just so I have it. That is one of my highest performing videos at like 500 over 500K views, and it was a throwaway. Like I just no script, grab the broccoli, let's just do it, and it's just so funny. So you never know.
They do say that though, don't they? Like if you sometimes if you're not intentional with the particular
Yeah,
video and you just create something on the cuff and you think, well, I'll just throw this out there. It's not going to really do well, but who cares? And tend to be like the really well performing videos. I
yeah.
don't
So
understand it.
I don't
Maybe
either.
there's a feeling in the videos like that you don't really care about it, but it comes across as being more authentic in some way.
Yeah,
And I don't know.
I have no idea. I mean, it was fun because we were laughing. It's like let's get a shot here. Come over here. Do this. So,
I guess
Wow.
maybe it's like
yeah,
say it just hits the mark sometimes. Like say it's simple in as much as, but I
mhm.
don't necessarily know exactly what I'm doing in that way, or I'm fed up of boiling it all the time. There must be something else we can do with a lovely bit of broccoli head or something. So who knows? Well, if we find out how that algorithm works and whatever, then we'll be in good shape from from there on in. So
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, Matt was just saying, yeah, the way YouTube works sometimes, fun and infuriating simultaneously. Exactly, exactly. And Matt, what's your experience been from a live perspective? Are there some, obviously you've got your regular people when you know what's going on, but are there just some that seem to then take off on a replay after that for no reason that you can think of? Or what's your sort of experience? So let us know in the chat. Yeah, low effort vids blow up. I mean, that could be our motto, but
Yeah,
there's a little bit more effort than it
And it's
goes
changing
from.
though, isn't it? All the time,
yeah.
the algo is changing a lot, and you just never you just never really know how it's going to play out. And they do seem to be favoring more of the smaller channels. I know people do keep
Right
saying
now.
that. And if I see another video on YouTube telling me about making videos in 2025 on YouTube, there's so many, but people are really interested in showing you the capability and the capacity that YouTube has now for smaller creators.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the days of the unicorn maybe are no more.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And that brings us to our new product, how to create the best videos of 2025 if you've been involved in it.
Sign
Sign
up.
here. Touch the screen. Touch the screen.
Exactly.
You'll get all the
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
replay.
interesting. Yeah.
That used to happen because I did a Facebook Live cooking show, and it was I always didn't care about how many people were on it first. It was the replays where people would really pop up and
Yeah.
really get the views. I agree.
That is
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people don't tend to. I asked this question: do people go back and watch replays? And a lot of people say to get to the nuggets of what's in a live show is difficult because you have to sit through it. But I think that's why if you
Chapters.
chapterize,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, if that's a term, because you can use
Chapterize.
AI now to chapterize your previously live video and maybe break it up, and that will help your audience navigate through the video if there are nuggets of information. I can't sit through a 2-hour video just to scroll through and try and find it. It's too much. So yeah,
Now
that's a top tip.
pull the script to throw it into chat, and it'll summarize it for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
it. And I think
Top tip.
also, I think my 2 cents on this would just be it depends on what type of video it is and what you want to do. If it's a community feel one, I want to hang out with these people, I'm interested in what they've got to say, and maybe it's not as targeted, but I want to use that time to do it, then that's brilliant. But like I say, if it happens to be, I know this video's on this topic, but there's 45 minutes of waffle around what's 15 minutes of the content that I want, then I think that makes a difference. And I guess that's why you kind of love or hate some channels, or you sort of do follow some channels in a certain way, because it's the personality and the human side, which goes back to Phil's thing about, that's the bit that you can't replicate in any kind of AI related thing. But at the same time, if I just want the information, then I'm going to go a different route and do that.
Right.
So yeah, saying add chapters to all my lives.
Good.
Yeah.
Smart.
Good. Yeah. So do I. Yeah. Nobody obviously would want to watch this replay, but just other videos on the side. Just joking, people.
Wow.
Lots of people watch our replays because they can't catch us
Yes, they
live.
do, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Do the right thing.
I was going to say, sorry, I think the reason why people do watch our show in all seriousness on the replay is because it's a format. So people know that at the beginning it's an intro, then we've got the guest, then there's the quiz, then there's a bit of other stuff, and that's it. And it's always the same. So it follows a pattern. It's a show, and it has a format. And that particular segment in the middle, they can easily find where the guest comes in, and then they can just sit and run with it for the guest. So I think that's an important thing as well, to have a structure if you're looking at maybe repurposing the content on your show and things like that.
Yeah. And when it's harder to find the funny bits if they're not chaptered, but that's just one of those things.
I mean, it's
Mark
harder
was-
to find the funny
Mark
bits.
was here,
period.
and then Neil's there.
Yeah, that's very rare.
Yeah. But hey, that's why we try and keep these shows to like 3 hours, and then it's easy to find.
Exactly. There's one funny nugget in the whole of that 3 hours. And here it was.
Exactly. So let's speaking of Phil, we should actually just make sure that everyone has seen his book again and they know exactly what's going on. So there's a beautiful picture, AI for small business. That's very nicely done from that point of view, but even better so that you know that we have this personal touch. Look at that. We've got Lisa there recommending, smiling, branding. So yeah, if you don't have the book, do make sure you go through and have a look at that as well. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
And just to be clear, that image of Lisa was not AI generated. So just to be
That was me.
No, she was in Amesbury. It looks like it was outside the hotel.
As
when
it
we were
was,
there.
yeah. Phil grabbed me. He's like, "Here, take a picture."
Take a picture.
take a picture.
Do that.
That's cool.
There we are. So, anything else we'd like to impart, funny or otherwise, but before we leave these other people alone?
Well, we do need more guests on the show, and the guests booking is open. So, as always, you can get in touch with us in a number of different ways. Go to creativeamplifiers.live. There is a link there to sign up and be a guest on the show. Send us your merch photos. It doesn't have to be merch. It can be your studio, some behind the scenes, what you're up to. Tell us how you're actually using your various camera gear, whatever it might be. You might have got a new piece of tech for Christmas from Santa. Tell us how you're using that. Show us. Send us a picture. Nominate a guest or be a guest yourself on the show, and you can do that. And tell us about your show. At the end of the day, this was created for you and to showcase the creators, people who use Ecamm, people who are content creators on YouTube and show, and so on. So please tell us all about your show. Go to creativeamplifiers.live or click on the QR code. Sign up. The floodgates are open, and you can get yourself a spot now. I think we've got spots from mid-February onwards. Time is flying. Remember, we've got our summer break coming up in summer, which seems to be about 100 years away yet. But there you go. But we will be there. So, please join us and be a guest on the show.
Exactly. And as we've sort of been talking about, I've obviously started in the podcast world, and Neil's got the tech angle, and Lisa's been successful for a very long time in various different ways on this online world. If there's anything you want us to cover specifically related to any of those topics as well, we're going to be sharing some of our insights too, and that would be sort of fun for us to be able to do as well. But if there's anything specific that you think would be helpful, whether it's a particular guest that you'd like us to reach out on, then we're happy to do that as well, because essentially, we want to be able to share the right things that are going to help you as well. We love having a laugh, but it's, being able to share that kind of information. If you haven't come across some people before, or you'd like a more deep dive into a particular thing, then do let us know. Yeah, if you go to creativeamplifiers.live, that's where you can get hold of everything, and Instagram as well, which is a really good one. So, new networking merch for streamers. Interesting. Let us know.
And woodworking merch. Is it?
Yeah.
Woodworking. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know. We will happily share anything Ecamm Fam related and give us a chance to do that. So brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. I hope the next few days are going to be calm for you, and you're able to stay safe and don't need to leave your home. But fingers crossed, we'll be sending our best wishes and hope that all calms down very soon. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with Robin as as Neil mentioned before. And on that note, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to make sure that the windows are closed, as it's minus something here when it has been for the last few days, and I've got an early start in the morning. So we're going to make sure that that all comes to a nice warm evening for me before I've got to get up and go back out in the cold as well again. So Lisa, thank you so much. Very nice to see you in the new year. Neil, thank you very much indeed. That's to see you in the new year. I've realised that this time last year I was getting ready to jump on a plane to come and see you in Portugal.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
was
right.
which was lovely. So as I haven't booked that yet, maybe it's Lisa that I'm going to come and see this year, but we'll see how it goes. And I might not have mentioned that to Lisa yet, but now I have said so.
I know.
I'll give you a plan of when it might be, and then you can make sure you're out if that's what you want to do. But we'll see. No, we're meant to be in-person live streaming. Anyway, have a great couple of weeks. We will see you then. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. See ya.
Bye.